Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anthony Moore, and this video is an introduction / warning for a series of videos and corresponding writings in which we will be breaking down the U.S. banking system and broader financial system in ways that now more than ever the American people need to know, but that now more than ever the powers that be do not want us to know. And we're going to break down exactly why that is the case. And we're going to do so under our overarching theme, which is a question. And this question / theme is, will the money that you save and invest for retirement be worth anything when you retire? And based on the trajectory that we are now on in this United States of America, for the American people at large, for the masses of United States citizens, the answer to that question is a resounding no. And we are going to bear that out with things like data, with things like facts, with things like numbers, with things like substantiated information. And for our sources, we're going to use information from the very entities that determine, or at least have a huge role in determining, if the money that you save and invest for retirement will be worth anything when you retire. Especially we're talking about US dollars, and we are talking about numbers, data, facts, declarations, and projections from entities such as the Central Bank of the United States, the Federal Reserve, aka the Fed, the U.S. Department of Treasury, the OMB, the United States Office of Management and Budget, the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office. And I know the fact that, will the money that you save and invest for retirement be worth anything when you retire? For some people, the fact that it will be worth nothing essentially is hard to believe, especially if you are a member of mainstream nightly news watching America and you think that these people telling you everything you need to know is to be an informed American citizen, which is so far from reality, which is so far from the truth. I mean, these same mainstream news programs and mainstream newscasters that are subjected to and part of the handful of corporations that collectively own the very consolidated mainstream news, corporations that are driven by profits above all else. The hell with humanity, the hell with this country, the hell with what's best for the people at large. Okay, looking at a newscaster that in many cases are dumb as a doorknob and reading straight from the script, and they dare not stray from that script because they know they over with and done if they do. So back to that question of, will the money that you save and invest, and not just for retirement, really for anything. We got focusing on retirement because retirement is a key construct within which the overall banking and financial system are centered around. But as I said, and will continue to say, as long as it continues to be true, will the money you save and invest for retirement or really for anything be worth what you need it to be, what you expect it to be, what you are counting on it to be, what you have been led to believe it will be, which is what we're talking about when we say, will it be worth anything? We talking about anything along those lines. What really matters, what really counts. The answer to that question, based on the trajectory that we are on, is no. And that goes for even you, great American. Even if you've been a great American boy or girl, a great U.S. patriot, paid your taxes, worked real hard your whole life, voted in your fair share of elections, participated in your fair share of Memorial Day and 4th of July parades, even if you ran up your credit card every Christmas and spent the next year struggling to pay it off like a good American, good consumer, good patriot, buying, like a good American. The answer to the question of, will the money that we save and invest for retirement or really for any purpose in this United States of America, especially if we're talking about US dollars, would it be worth anything when we retire or when we call upon it in the future? Would it be worth anything relative to what we are counting on it to be, what we have sacrificed for it to be, what we have been led to believe it will be, what we need it to be? The answer to that question is no. And that goes for even if you've been a apple pie eating, American flag waving, Valentine's Day simping, Easter egg hunting, Memorial Day barbecuing, 4th of July fireworks shooting, Labor Day celebrating, Halloween trick-or-treat grab bag partying, Thanksgiving Day stuffed turkey in the oven cooking, Christmas tree lighting, New Year's Day guns in the air busting, all-American, great American. Not just a great American, but an all-American American. To answer that question, as far as will the money that we save and invest be worth anything when we retire or when we call upon it in the future? Like I said, based on the trajectory that we are on, the answer to that question is no. And the fact of the matter is, because these powers that be in this here United States of America are so-called leaders, aka deceivers, they don't give a damn about the American people. They don't care about the very workers that make this country run, that make this country such a playground and such a land of milk and honey for those elites who got way more than they ever need and still work toward getting more that they don't need at the expense of the masses and everyday people get enough of what they do need. They don't care about us. They don't care about the people. Regardless of what political party you in, if any, or what political party that they claim to be in, if any. The facts bear that out. And we're going to get into that and break that all down in this series of conversations and corresponding writings. And our focus with these conversations and with these writings is to transform that answer as far as will the money that we save and invest be worth anything when we retire or when we call upon it in the future, from being a collective no and to transforming it into a collective yes for the American people. But it's going to take shifts in addition to saving and investing wisely. And we're going to have information in these series of talks that will help you do just that. Because like I said, we're going to use information from the Federal Reserve, the Department of Treasury, the OMB, the CBO. But it's also going to take a shift in political policy, because politics and political policy dictates the banking and financial system. You don't understand the economic system and the corresponding banking and financial systems through which a country runs if you don't understand the political system through which they were shaped and through which they are regulated, managed, and maintained. Politics, business, finance, economics, and banking go hand in hand. You don't have one without the other. All right, we're going to get into all of that. And when we say, will the money that you save and invest for retirement be worth anything relative to when you retire or when you call upon it in the future, especially if we are talking about US dollars, will it be worth anything relative to what you need it to be, what you are counting on it to be, what you have been led to believe it will be, what you have sacrificed for it to be? When we talk about that, we are not necessarily talking about the nominal amount as in the numerical amount, because the numerical amount may very well go up due to earning interest, supposed asset price appreciation, but most importantly, it will go up due to the very thing that will make what matters, which is the purchasing power of that money, go down, and that is due to inflation, which is the decline of purchasing power. And over the past few years, the masses of American people have been challenged, if not outright decimated, by inflation. In just the past few years, inflation has been challenging for the American people at large. But we are on a trajectory where inflation, as challenging as inflation has been over the past few years, we are on a trajectory where inflation and the rate of inflation will greatly outpace what has been the past few years. Matter of fact, on the Federal Reserve's website, the very central bank of the United States, it was an article that came out in 2023 that talks about a thing called fiscal dominance, which is when, as a result of increasing deficits and debt, in particular as a percentage of GDP, which stands for gross domestic product, the Federal Reserve, more specifically the U.S. Department of Treasury, in conjunction with the Federal Reserve, will inflate the money on purpose and do so in a way that's greatly transcendent of the inflation that we've experienced over the past few years, as challenging as that has been. Because what the Federal Reserve does is often telegraphed, especially when it comes to groundbreaking, ground shifting, transformative, experimental, consequential, new types of policies. What the Federal Reserve does is often telegraphed before they do it on their website, at the Jackson Hole Conference and other relevant conferences and events. A lot of it, like I said, the information that bears out the reality of the fact that the money that we save and invest for retirement or really for any reason won't be worth what we need it to be, what we are expecting it is expected to be, or what we are counting on it to be in the future. The fact of the matter that we are on a trajectory where that is the reality, that's in plain sight. But of course, they don't put it out there because, like I said, we don't have a functioning media. Because we had a functional media, the kind that is necessitated and reflective of a functional democracy, these are things that will be put out there so that we can be debating them as a country, as a democracy, as a citizenry. But we don't have that. So in terms of this series of conversation and corresponding writings, like, subscribe, share, comment, click the links in the description box, including the links to the newsletter, which has and will have the corresponding writings that expound on the things that we have and go that we will be talking about and covering in these conversations, and provide some of the resources and sources for the information. And in the first video in this series, this was the introduction / warning, as I said earlier, and it's a warning about the fragility, about the instability, about the dysfunction, about the unsustainability, and the inhumanity and exploitiveness of our banking and broader financial system that do not have to be this way, and as I just said, are unsustainable being this way. And we're gonna get into all that and break that down in this series of conversations and corresponding writings. And in the first video in this series, the next video after this introduction, we're going to get into what's called the repurchase market, which is referred to as repo for short. And we're not talking about car repo. I know some people might get nervous when they hear the word repo because maybe you have had a car to repossess. I don't judge. So maybe, but maybe, like I said, maybe because you've had a car to repossess, you have, when you hear the word repo, you have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, or better yet, post-traumatic cognitive repossessed disorder. And that's understandable because due to the very inflation that we have been talking about, car prices, both in terms of new car prices and used car prices, have been going through the roof. And once again, these things do not have to be this way. These so-called policymakers and powers that be will have us think that inflation just happened. Like, hey, we were walking down the street one day and inflation just happened, just fell out the sky and prices just went through the roof. Hey, we don't know how it happened. No, these things do not have to be this way. We're going to get to that and break all that down. So, like I said, tune in, like, subscribe, share, click the notification bell. I'm Anthony Moore for your money more. Thanks for watching and listening. Peace.